mentioned experiences, of course. Now this is like synonyms, right? Metaverse experiences. We're sort of juggling back and forth these couple of terms. So in terms of use cases, experiences, I see many applications in training, particularly, like employee experience, in education, in, I don't know, doctor's training, maybe in healthcare at some point, broader and broader, right? Because we do want to study, we do want to, again, feel and immerse into these new experiences when we're studying. What's your experience with learning in Metaverse?
Learning in Metaverse is one of the top number one, which will come, I would think, for everyone more to life in the next 2 to 3 years. And that's also what the CEO of Microsoft said, Satya Nadella. He said very clearly, education is big, and we have been experiences education very much in 2D format, or even when you are in a classroom it's very front, but just imagine also if you talk about physics and you can explore it in the metaverse, so you can really do the testing and something explodes here in the metaverse, in the virtual world, is not as bad as if it's really in real life, because in real life you might destroy the whole environment. So people can learn. This is just one of the examples, very much more intuitively. You can work together. Also, you can create something. So in the automotive industry, what is used very often now, that you design things together. In architectures also, you design things together. So there are a lot of education, and the most, what you mentioned, the I think the biggest use case for us is also, we talked about the fun factor on the fashion industry and the e-commerce, which is very in front and everyone talks about it. But as one is the education, and then if you combine the education with, just imagine, healthcare, which is also already happening. So what is done now is, for me, I think it's great, because surgeons, they learn in the virtual world. So instead of, excuse me to describe it this way, getting dead bodies, they really can get digital twins to try and learn. And at the same time also, we can test vaccines on digital twins. It has started also with COVID, and we can do so much more in healthcare. Healthcare is basically the biggest, I would say, metaverse application for us, in the sense also, how do we improve our health? And so learning and healthcare, for me, are the top cases you cannot talk enough about, because there's so many opportunities.
Certainly, certainly. So now that organizations are rethinking their strategies, not long ago, digital transformation was a new shiny toy. Not anymore. Now it's a must. So do you see metaverse as continuation, and companies will have to think about metaverse strategy seriously from now on?
Absolutely. I'm 180% convinced. And the companies who, they don't have to, I think the most important is for companies not to jump into it without any clear view of what's the purpose of the company, what are you trying really to solve for the customer. So don't think about, this is a product I have to push in the same way with the same experience. That is a failure. We have seen that already the last 6 months. But if you think about it in a way that I have so many possibilities to solve problems for my clients in different ways. So now we have seen that, for example, in banking, a lot of branches are no longer there. So there are still people in very remote areas, and they like to interact with you. So a small asset manager, for example, in the UK, called St. James Place, they have already trained now their relationship managers, because they are working with a lot of people in the remote areas. So you might argue, yeah, but these people don't have goggles and these people cannot use it. So the point, again, it comes back to education. It's very important that all generations will be trained, and the goggles are only an interim, I would say, because now we have another company called Moji who does lenses even. We have a lot of technology coming on now, where we have this human interface, which works much, much more easier than the goggles. So the goggles are not the future, certainly not, and no one wants to walk around with these big things. But to reach people, to also serve in particular banking, the underbanked, the virtual world can do a lot in terms of all this experience. Apart from the fact, so if you first look at banking and all the experiences you have, which are totally different from just online digital, then there's also the entire financial rail, payment rail, because there are a lot of transaction going on in the virtual world. So you need also payment rails, you need decentralized finance. And so far, a lot of the non-banking companies, so Uniswap, and also Compound, and other companies, Equify, they are all in the metaverse in quotes already, because they are all providing Web3 technology for payments. And the one big, obviously, is JP Morgan. They started with launch, and it was in January. Oh my God, now JP Morgan is in the metaverse. They just have a launch in one of the virtual worlds, which is, to my mind, not yet the fully exciting part. The exciting part is what they have announced they will do step by step, which is also providing payment rails, doing better customer experience. They have a huge blockchain team of 200 people. So they are already working quite a lot. We have Bank of America, they trained their people. We have KPMG moving also in the metaverse to have a better interaction. We have Accenture, 150,000 people will be onboarded in the metaverse. And that's not the future because they have tested it over the last 2 years. So everyone getting into a new company, you can easily provide a training program. It's much more interactive. You don't do that just on click, click, click the boxes, but you really go there. You can talk to someone, you have the interaction, you can experience that. You can even experience compliance. There's a lot of compliance and risk training when you start and when you onboard. You can have better experiences with new things. And Accenture has done that already for the last 2 years. They call it the ninth floor, where they onboard people with the technology of Microsoft Mesh.